Today, we're tackling something really fundamental. Understanding how our thoughts about money, our money mindset really shapes our financial lives.
Right.
And also how we can, get past procrastination and build habits that actually lead to success.
Yeah, good stuff.
Think of this as your express route to grasping these powerful ideas and getting some genuinely useful strategies.
Yeah.
Things you can actually use.
Exactly. And we've sifted through some really interesting materials to bring you the key insights.
Okay, what do we got?
So we'll be drawing from a guide by Money Mentors. It's called How to Shift Your Money Mindset in 5 Easy Steps.
Practical. I like it.
Yeah. And then there's this fascinating Reddit thread discussion on brainwashing yourself for success.
Okay, intriguing title there.
A little provocative, yeah.
Yeah.
And also a Forbes article looking at 3 common money mindset blocks and how to overcome them.
Great. So the goal here is really to pull out the most impactful bits from these. Connect them in a way that's clear, gives you those aha moments.
That's right.
Hopefully, without, getting lost in the weeds.
Absolutely. Clear and actionable.
Okay, so let's jump right in. When we talk about money mindset, what are we actually talking about?
Well, at its core, your money mindset, like that Money Mentors article says, it's your basic set of beliefs, your whole attitude when it comes to money.
Okay.
And this viewpoint, it kind of guides you. It influences everything.
Like that.
Your daily spending, your saving habits, how you look at debt, even like long-term planning. It even touches on what you believe you can actually achieve financially and your just overall sense of financial confidence or security.
So it's the lens we see money through. And Money Mentors talks about scarcity versus abundance, right? What's the difference there, practically speaking?
Right. So a scarcity mindset. Basically, it's feeling like there's just never enough.
Okay.
And the article points out how this shows up. Like maybe you feel like you're always just scraping by paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or there's this constant worry, maybe anxiety tied to finances. You might dwell on past money mistakes, maybe feel jealous of others. The core belief is limitation.
Got it. And abundance is the opposite. Believing there are possibilities.
Exactly. Believing there's enough, that opportunities exist. And interestingly, the Money Mentors article has a quick quiz, sort of a self-check.
Oh, like true-false questions.
Yeah, exactly. They're designed to get you thinking about those underlying feelings.
What kind of things do they ask?
Things like, do you often feel scared about your financial situation? Do you feel like you lack control? Are you generally pessimistic about your financial future? They also touch on feeling overwhelmed by it all, or maybe believing that, building wealth just isn't for you.
That's actually quite revealing, just thinking about how you'd answer those.
It's a really good starting point for self-awareness.
Yeah, and that self-awareness flows right into the first step Money Mentors recommends, reflection. So what kind of reflection are we talking about?
They really emphasize looking back to your early experiences with money.
Like childhood stuff?
Yeah. Think about the adults around you then. What messages did you absorb about money? Were they big spenders, super savers? Did they seem stressed about money?
Okay.
How did all that shape your views now? It's not about blame, obviously.
Right, not blame, understanding.
Just understanding the roots of your current mindset. And it's interesting, the Forbes piece echoes this too. They call them unhelpful money memories from childhood.
Unhelpful money memories. Makes sense. Like hearing money doesn't grow on trees all the time.
Exactly. That kind of thing can unconsciously shape how you save or don't save today.
Okay, so once we've done some of that reflecting, maybe I uncovered some old messages, what's step 2 from Money Mentors?
Step 2 is about actively working towards a positive money mindset. And a big tool for this is using financial affirmations.
Affirmations. Okay,
Yeah.
So changing our self-talk.
Precisely. The article really stresses how much our internal dialogue, what we tell ourselves, impact our financial actions. It says, pay attention to that inner voice. What does it say when you get paid? When you have to pay bills? When you maybe splurge a little? Or make a mistake?
And if that voice is mostly negative or critical?
Then it's time to consciously shift it. And Money Mentors give some solid examples.
I like that.
Well, instead of thinking, ugh, I'm just terrible with money, you could consciously practice thinking, okay, I am learning to manage my money well, one step at a time.
So actively challenging those limiting thoughts.
Exactly. It's like retraining your brain. The article also points out, look, financial hiccups happen to everyone.
Sure.
They can actually be chances to learn. And comparing yourself to others, not always helpful. Everyone's path is different.
Good reminders. Okay, step 3 in their framework is about saving. building a saving mindset. How do they suggest we do that?
This really comes down to getting clear on your financial values and your goals.
Why is that so important for saving?
Well, if you know what really matters to you financially, maybe it's retiring early, buying a place, traveling, and you can actually picture that future.
It gives you motivation.
Huge motivation. Money Mentors suggests actually writing these values and goals down.
Making them real.
Makes them concrete, a reminder when you feel like spending. And then, the crucial part, break those big goals down.
Into smaller chunks.
Yeah, into smaller, actionable steps so they feel less intimidating, more doable right now. Like saving for a down payment feels huge, right?
Way overwhelming.
But saving X amount each month, that feels achievable.
Yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. Breaking down the mountain.
Yeah.
So step 4 is about monitoring spending, but it sounds like more than just tracking numbers.
It is. Money Mentors says, yes, track your spending for at least a month. But just as importantly, track your emotions around money.
Ah, the feelings.
Yes. How do you feel when your paycheck lands? When you pay the bills? When you buy something just for you?
Okay.
And try to identify your spending triggers. You know, what situations or moods lead you to spend in certain ways?
That sounds really insightful. Understanding the why.
Exactly. They even offer a free weekly money diary tool to help you notice these patterns and feelings.
Cool. And the final step for Money Mentors. Step 5.
Step 5 is committing to change. This is where you really put it all into practice.
Okay, the action phase.
Right. The article suggests finding inspiration, maybe reading success stories, making a real effort to learn more about managing money books, podcasts like this one, courses.
Keep learning.
Yeah. And maybe create a new budget, one that actually lines up with your new positive mindset and your goals. The main message here is empowerment.
You're in control.
You're in control. You have the power to change things, believe in your financial potential.
I like that. Okay, now let's bring in the Forbes article. It focuses on common money mindset blocks. What are the big ones they identify?
So Forbes points to those unhelpful money memories we touched on, often from childhood.
Right.
Then there are sabotaging money beliefs. These are often unconscious stories we tell ourselves about earning, getting, spending money. They can seriously hold us back without us even realizing it.
Sabotaging beliefs, like what?
Could be anything, really. Like believing you don't deserve to earn a lot or that money is somehow dirty.
Huh. And the third block.
This one's interesting. Negative consequences around having money. Basically, some people resist getting more money because they unconsciously fear bad things will happen if they do.
That seems backwards. Why would someone resist having more money?
Well, Forbes gives examples, maybe a fear of the responsibility that comes with wealth or anxiety about having more to lose.
Okay, I could see that.
Some people might have absorbed beliefs that rich people are bad or greedy. Or maybe they worry that their relationships will change, friends will treat them differently if they become wealthier.
Wow, okay. So these are deep-seated blocks. How does Forbes suggest we tackle them? They have a process, right? 4 steps.
They do. Step 1, identify your fear. Really pinpoint what the underlying fear is. Fear of loss, responsibility, being judged.
Get specific.
Yes. Step 2, think back to your earliest money memory. Try to trace where that fear or belief started.
Find the origin.
Step 3, consider the impact. How did those early experiences make you think or feel about money? What conclusions did you draw?
Connect the dots.
And finally, step 4, stop sabotaging yourself. Recognize those patterns, like spending wildly after a windfall, or avoiding bills, and consciously decide to challenge and rewrite those old beliefs.
That conscious rewriting keeps coming up. Seems really central.
It really is, across both Money Mentors and Forbes.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly to the Reddit thread. Brainwashing yourself for success. A provocative title, but what's the core idea there?
Yeah, the language is definitely informal Reddit speak, but underneath it's really about intentionally rewiring habits, especially for someone struggling with procrastination, maybe an entrepreneur trying to get going.
Makes sense. So less about actual brainwashing, more about habit change.
Exactly. And the advice mirrors a lot of what we've heard. One user, Open Book Exam, suggests breaking big goals down.
Like Money Mentors said.
Right. Break them into smaller, meaningful chunks and then actually schedule time for them. Even schedule your downtime.
Oh, interesting. Why schedule leisure?
The idea is that hitting those small scheduled goals, even fun ones, reinforces the habit of completion. It makes tackling bigger goals feel more rewarding.
Ah, building momentum. I like that. And in terms of financial success, that means smaller goals like saving a certain amount or researching one investment.
Precisely. Small, achievable wins.
There was another great point related to this, right? About impossible tasks.
Yeah, another user, Poinair, quoted a line from a game, The Outer Worlds. In order to do the impossible, you must first divide it into a series of smaller, less impossible tasks.
Love that. Perfectly captures the idea.
Totally echoes the Money Mentor's advice on breaking goals down.
What else came up in that Reddit thread?
Well, Open Book Exam also mentioned things like mindfulness, using breathing to slow down thoughts, and exercise for mental clarity, non-financial tools that help focus.
And curating your environment. Right. Intentionally surrounding yourself with info related to your goals, following financial experts online, watching relevant videos. So even if you do procrastinate online, you might stumble into something useful, kind of like productive procrastination.
That's clever. There was also a detailed personal story from someone, right? Ziltoid.
Yes, really insightful. They talked about self-awareness for meditation, starting super small with learning, like understanding just one paragraph at a time.
Wow, really small steps.
Yeah. They also mentioned, cautiously, using psychedelics for perspective shifts and finding quake books.
Quake books.
Books that just fundamentally shake up your thinking. Their whole message was about sustainability, balance, curiosity, and being objective about yourself.
That's powerful stuff. A whole journey.
Definitely. And then, on the other end of the spectrum on Reddit,
Yeah.
a more blunt take from a deleted user. Basically, sometimes you just have to force yourself to do the thing, override the urge to procrastinate.
The just do it approach. Sometimes necessary, I guess.
Seems like it. And one more practical tip from user Oscar Charlie Zulu: substitute bad habits.
How so?
When you feel the urge to waste time on something, immediately swap it for a small, worthwhile task. Even something tiny, like tidying up for 2 minutes or doing one push-up or answering one email. Just break the pattern.
Okay, lots of different angles there, from deep reflection to just getting on with it. So bringing this all together, what are the main takeaways for you, our listener, from this deep dive?
Well, I think the big picture is that your money mindset isn't set in stone. It's dynamic, and it really does shape your financial life.
But you can change it.
Absolutely. By reflecting on where it came from, actively challenging those negative thoughts with, say, affirmations, setting clear goals that matter to you, and keeping an eye on your habits and your feelings around money, you really can cultivate a more positive, abundant outlook.
And for procrastination.
Similar themes, really. Breaking huge goals into tiny steps seems key. Scheduling things intentionally, curating your environment, and just focusing on consistent action, even small actions. That seems to be the path forward.
Consistency over intensity, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so as you're thinking about all this, here's maybe a final thought to chew on. If your current money mindset and your daily habits were embodied by a close friend, would you actually encourage that friend's choices?
Ooh, good question.
Right. And if the answer is maybe not, or definitely not, then what's one small but significant shift you could start making today? How can you become the supportive friend your own future self needs? It's definitely a journey, right? Not a one-time fix. But understanding these foundational ideas is such a crucial first step.
Couldn't agree more.
So we really encourage you to think on these things, maybe even go back to the sources we talked about as you keep exploring your relationship with money and figuring out your path to your goals.